Welcome back, tribe. Still in vacation, as you can see. Got one here from the Whatever podcast. Haven't seen what these boys have been up to in a good minute. This title sounded a bit interesting. Let's get into it.
And then you said feminism is cancer.
Yeah.
Care to elaborate at all?
Yeah, I think that it is. I think one of the main reasons even you are so cynical, marriage, which, you know what, I'm not saying it's invalid by any means, is because of what feminism has turned society in. I'm just saying. It's made women extremely self-serving, and it's not that women shouldn't care about themselves, but come on, we went polar like the opposite direction, and I think we started blaming men for every single issue problem in the world, and a lot of men have started bowing knee to that, and that's just empowered these women more, because if these men didn't allow women continue this narrative, if they said enough, it would be over. So many, if they wanted to sleep with you or something.
That's a very gynocentric.
No, it's not. No, I'm not blaming
that. You immediately moved over to what about the men, though, right? You started strong with the feminism is at fault and there's some female accountability. You moved right to what about the men?
No, I do have to ask, do you believe that men allow women do men run ultimately? Is there a patriarchy?
I think she's taking that reductionist view of ultimately men decide everything in society. Ultimately, men have all the power. And ultimately, if things were to change, only men could make them change when they felt like it. So it's all an illusion. Feminism is an illusion. The gynocracy is all an illusion. Which way we vote, it's just a group of men with power dictate the way things go. So that means they're always going to be subservient in one way or another. Now, it doesn't mean to every man, but the top percentile men, sure. Or the ones at least with power in society that really control things. Okay. If that's the reductionist view you want to take, I guess it's men's fault for the movement. Yeah, ultimately, men allowed women to vote. Ultimately, men allowed women the rights for feminism and the gynocracy in general. Ultimately, men have failed to balance out society and have pushed women ahead of men at their expense. I mean, at the expense of some men, you could say, because the top percentile men have never had an issue, will never have an issue. It's the bottom rung, the average man, that's struggling the most, because the ideal of what a man should be today is such a caricature of like a superhero. Basically, you have the 6'6" with a 6-pack, 6-inch hammer or bigger minimum, Bruce Wayne money, Batman outfit, cool as a cucumber, all this, confident, charismatic, can push apart a mountain with your bare hands. It's insane that what they expect a man to be today. But then when they ask what men want, they never ask what men want. But if they were to ask what a man want, men would just simply say feminine, fit, friendly, loves me, cares for me, cooks for me, just keeps the house clean. I'll deal with the rest of the problems in the rest of the world as long as she can give me the basics. But they won't even give you the basics. It's I want my cake and the cherry on top and the table and the people who made the cake. I want it all. And you get nothing. And if you give me even a slight pushback, I'm going to replace you with the next guy on Tinder or Bumble or whatever dating app or whoever they're meeting when they're going out. It's insane, dude. The game is unbalanced and men are checking out because they're sick of paying 10x the price their grandpa did for 10 times less the woman.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I think that ultimately due to force doctrine, things will reduce down to a patriarchy. But men operate within a hierarchy, and that's a portion of the problem that women don't seem to understand because they don't operate it.
Right.
So when women make the counter argument, no, this is really the patriarchy's fault, which is a feminist argument that you're currently making.
No, actually, you're wrong. Actually, I'm all for the patriarchy.
I'm sorry. It's not the patriarchy's fault?
No.
So it's not men's fault that they're enabling women to do this?
No. I just think ultimately, though, men are the ones in power. That to me, that's a good thing. I'm all for the patriarchy.
But men are ultimately in power, which means whose fault is it?
It's not about fault. I just think that men.
No. Answer my question.
I think that men should stand up to women. I just think they should.
I'm not going to let you evade. Right? You're going to have to answer the question. If men, I'm just looking for a logical extension here.
Okay.
If men are ultimately the ones who are in power, then whose fault would this be?
I think that it's still the women's decision to do those things that are wrong. Yeah, I think it's the woman's fault. But I think that men ultimately, because I believe men are more powerful than women, because I'm not delusional, I think that if they put a stop to it, it could stop.
Then if they have the power to stop it and they're not stopping it, but they could stop it.
I think it's to appease women. I think it's just to appease women. honestly, because women make a lot of noise.
So
Make
then
a
that
lot of
would be
fuss.
men's fault again.
No, actually, it's not about fault. That's not what I'm saying. Not even.
But how would it not be? Like, look, I'm listening to your logic,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we're going to start with A. Okay. Men are appeasing women and they don't have to, but
Well-
they have ultimate force to stop appeasing women and they're not. And they're at the top of the hierarchy. So then whose fault are you saying it is?
I still think it's the woman's fault, but I think it's because
And
men.
how do you square that with these arguments? I don't understand.
Let me explain. I
Okay.
think that
I'm gonna
men.
listen.
I think that men are not all cruel and brutal like women say they are. A lot of feminists say they are. I think that they have soft hearts, and I think they do allow women to have a lot of rights and power and control. But I think even you would agree that ultimately, if men wanted to, they could put a stop to everything. Men are the ones that allow women to have rights. It's them. We know that. So
Well, then
disagree.
hang on. Hang on. I just want to make sure I'm clear. Then ultimately, whose fault would that?
I still think it's the woman's fault.
Yeah, I don't.
What the fuck?
Women are
No,
I'm trying to square this.
I know. I do.
I'm going to skip through this because damn, he's just repeating to Bozos. A simple logical extension.
There's no hierarchy that women have. They only compete with men, usually for the men at the top of these hierarchies. So it is true that ultimately this teeny tiny group of men may have some power here, okay? And they may have some authority where they're working with, various women in order to do that. The disenfranchised men, or the men who are at the bottom of this hierarchy, they would have to control it only through an extreme means. And so when I say that all power is reduced, right? Or all power is reduced to physical force, ultimately it is, okay? But it's not the responsibility of men who are born into a disenfranchised position to halt female narcissism.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, I think
That wouldn't be their responsibility to do.
that's a good way to put it. I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. It would have to be extreme measures, and should that be put on the man's shoulder? No. I think that
It's weird that we don't have that conversation of why women just can't stop being pieces of shit and delusional and treating men like garbage and using them for their money and playing them, discarding them, manipulating them just for gain. It's all for gain. There's no real connection here. It's what I can get out of him, the next guy, and the other three guys I'm talking to simultaneously. Why can't society temper a woman's expectations on how she should behave, what it means to be feminine, what it means to be a decent human being? Why is it that we live in this dog-eat-dog world in the sexes, in the genders, that it's like, I have to get one up on them. Every man I meet, I must extract something from him. Why is that the norm? Why can't we just teach people to do what our great-grandparents did? Come together, build a legacy, make some kids, look after your family, mind your own business, help out in the community or the neighborhood that you live in, do some good in the world, leave it in a better place than you found it. It's all about gimme, take, mine, step on and crush everyone, crush. Considering America is a Christian nation, or at least it likes to think of itself as under God, that's the least Christian thing you could possibly do. I don't know, man, we're in this weird state where extreme selfishness, hedonism, materialism, these things just rule the world. It's completely enslaved most people, and they're acting against their own interests. They're leading lives of desperation, loneliness, misery, content, and they don't see that the truth is right in front of them, that their behaviors, all the consumption of modern society, everything they've been told what to do on social media, on TikTok and all this stuff is exactly the reason that they're depressed. It's exactly the reason why they cry themselves in their pillows at night. And instead of changing and going against the trend and doing the opposite and maybe going on a more conservative path, maybe following in your great-grandmother's footsteps, great-grandfather's footsteps, maybe trying to get away from the big city, live a more independent life. And I mean independent from modern necessities, become more grounded, cherish things that actually matter. Instead of material possessions, it's memories and experiences you have with people. Good luck selling that to a slave that's still under the spell, though.
passionately, but it's not specifically that I think. And I actually do not think it's a men's fault. Extreme action would have extreme consequences, and it would be a disaster.
Dire.
Right.
It would be dire.
It would be dire. I just think it would help in day to day. Like even him saying, I'm not getting married. It's not worth it. Even vocalizing that, even though I disagree that that's the best outcome for a man's life, is going to help that movement of not bowing the knee to the woman. So I'm just saying that to me is a
Well, then
step.
it sounds like he has every incentive in the world not to get married.
Correct. I still think he ought.
Yeah, but you have to. Okay, so we got to get into this a little bit. The supposition of meaning this is something you should do. You should do it. Okay, Brian's not a Christian. So from a secular perspective,
Yeah.
actually tell me why. Yeah, I'm going to get him there, but actually tell me why he, as a secularist man, you're sitting across from him. He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in any of that hoodoo, voodoo, witchcraft, right? And you have to make a secular argument to him from a secular perspective, from a non-believer's perspective.
There isn't one.
Why should he do it?
Yeah, it's the same exact thing I said earlier. It's just a matter of, it's the matter of the ceremony of the commitment. And
What?
not a lot of people, not everyone would agree with that.
Dude, just, oh my God, I can't believe he's arguing with this idiot. The ceremony, if a secular man is trying to be convinced of marriage and the pitfalls like child support, alimony, the court biases for women, losing all your assets, including every investment and retirement pension plan, all the stuff that you have, no one gives a singular shit about a ceremony of all things.
And that's secular. That's something that would appeal to the secular, mostly with it.
What?
How would that appeal to a secularist?
Well,
to make
a commitment?
Okay, so
Is
let's
it
say
a
a secularist
commitment
goes out and he
religious?
goes, they put on little hula skirts, right? And they dance naked in the moonlight, and that's their commitment to each other.
Okay.
Is that just as valid to you as like a Christian marriage is?
You know, I think that it is a bit I get what you're saying. I think to those who are not married, they just wouldn't quite get it. But you're married. I think you do get it. It's just
No.
it's a
Listen,
deeper
I don't get
connection.
it. I'm
Okay.
trying to understand it.
Okay.
Right. So I am married, but I have this great, wonderful enforcement mechanism called God, right? Called God and my faith. And I have a church which portions of my marriage. And these things are necessary inside of the confines of marriage. You have to have community also as a support for marriage. That's one of the
Very
things
true.
missing in society, which only
Yep.
church can bring. Okay. But Brian over there, I'm assuming, so in my brain, I go like this. I think to myself, this guy, it doesn't even have to be Brian specifically, but any guy I'm talking to, he's like, Andrew, I like you. You're a smart guy, blah, 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 blah. But I don't believe in this God shit. I just don't believe in it. I hate it. I think it's bullshit. I think it's nonsense. Tell me why I should get married. I can't come up with a single reason.
I can.
Okay.
In
Brian,
modernity,
can I-
give me a single reason which
I
is
can.
valid. I want to hear it so bad.
I'm ready.
I am certain that when Brian truly loves, he knows that he met a super woman who make his life and who just brings the peace. She won't marry for her in order to.
Okay, hang on. If she's giving him all of that shit before he marries her, then why the fuck would he marry her? No, hang on.
He
Listen,
needs a good
don't
Christian
talk before I
girl
finish. Hang
who
on.
is not
I just
kidding.
listen to everything. Stop. I
Thank you,
listen to
Tucker.
everything you say, but you cut me off before I finish my point,
Go ahead,
right?
go ahead.
So I'm going to ask you directly. Listen to what I'm saying before you respond. If you're giving the man all of that stuff, right? All the adoration, all the love, bringing peace in his life, and you think he's great, you think he's wonderful, and you throw roses at his feet, you make him fucking bacon and eggs every morning while you're giving him a back massage. You're that talented. And you're like, honey, but I'd really like you to marry me. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. And you keep on doing that shit. Why the fuck would he marry you? Can you explain that to me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it will be actually a progression. When person
She's actually semi-right on this because here's how it usually happens in the real world. Say you meet a woman with all those qualities that he's talking about, and she does make your life easier, brings the best out of you. What tends to happen is if she is the one that's pushing for marriage and would like to be married and marriage is important to her, but is doing all those things that you're benefiting so greatly from, 9.9 times out of 10, a man will cave and do it because he needs and loves her so much. End of story. And it would not change anything in their dynamic. It makes no sense for him to get married other than I want to do this for her because she does so much for me. That's what happens in the real world. His argument, I get he's on the staunch sell me on secular marriage. In his eyes is absolutely impossible. But what the woman in green is actually talking about is something that happens quite often in the real world, day-to-day life of average couple in a relationship where the woman is treating him very well and he's benefiting a ton from her presence and she adds to his life. No man is going to let go of a woman or say no to marriage that's that valuable in his life, that's that special, that he loves that much. They're going to get married. To the man, it's something minuscule that would make his partner feel better, and she makes him feel better all the time. So whatever, let's do it. Worth it. selling a secular marriage to a man that's unsure about his partner, unsure about his relationship, scared of the courts and all that other stuff. Like, he's dealing with a difficult partner anyways. He's walking on eggshells. She got the strong, independent mindset, all this stuff. When you put all that together, then yeah, selling marriage to that guy is almost impossible.
Receive love and care and unconditional love. It is, at first, it is very, it's kind of foreign at the beginning, but then the person becomes addicted to that and they want more and more and more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And so when the woman is consistent,
Yeah, not sure what he answers with, but in general, in the real world, that's how it happens. Feelings, emotions, all that stuff gets in the way. You're not going to logically argue your way out of or try to solve that problem. If it's something super important for your partner, you're going to come meet them in the middle and do something for them if they do so much for you and more. It's common sense, dude. We're not going to get here and go all radical and be like, absolutely under no circumstances. You shouldn't in the West anyways, just because the laws. But that's all you go overseas and figure that problem out. And then some of the comments say he's talking about simps. It makes sense when you think about it. Men did allow women to vote. The one else saying simps are just as a big of a problem as some modern women. And this one says there's no plus for a man to marry. In the West, absolutely not. Not to a modern woman. You get nothing but a headache, financial risk, potentially your kids being taken away, being shamed in your own community where they believe everything she says. No. And you don't get a partner. I won't even say partner. You don't get a woman. You get some least feminine version of what women used to be. That doesn't contribute to your relationship whatsoever.